The number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
Welcome to Spotlight on the Arts. I'm your host, Patrick Christiana, the publisher of TheaterLife.com, a website for theater buffs in New York City and the Hamptons, and we are coming to you from the LTV studio in Wainscott, where I have an old friend, a brilliant lady artist, Ellen Frank, Dr. Ellen Frank, which, thank you so much, because you are so busy. Thank you for making the time to come here.
It's my honor. It's fun. It's great to see you. So I'm
It's
really
great to
glad.
see you too. So you have just launched one of the most amazing projects, and you launched it in 2009, is it?
We launched actually around 2007.
Cities
and then
of Peace.
Cities of Peace.
Tell my guests what Cities of Peace is.
So Cities of Peace started out as monumental paintings that honor the history and culture of world cities that have suffered trauma, including Baghdad, including Kabul, including Hiroshima. And it's grown. I've worked with young people from more than 25 countries, plus scholars from all over the world. And it's grown from being a collection of paintings to include peace education, cultural diplomacy, leadership training, nonviolent communication. It's a miracle. It's extraordinary.
So
how
basically it's
grown.
transformative.
It's transformative.
And that's the real essence of what you're doing here.
That's the real essence, to transform anguish into beauty and to transform people from feeling helpless or overwhelmed by sorrow and grief and anger to feeling hope and positive engagement and joy.
And you do it with a focus on the positive.
We do it with a focus on the positive. You're absolutely right.
Now your exhibition, in 2010 they showed at Guildhall, is that
2011.
2011 but what was your inspiration to create Cities of Peace?
Wow. My inspiration was it's actually got a long story, but the short story is that I visited Jerusalem and I was unhappy in Jerusalem and I didn't know why. And when I came back to the United States, the second intifada had broken out. So I realized I was feeling the tension in the city and yet couldn't name it, didn't know what was wrong. So the birth of Cities of Peace, the first painting is Jerusalem, called Jerusalem, a Painting Toward Peace. And it marries imagery that's Islamic, that's Jewish, that's Christian. It aspires to the hope of real living in harmony between warring factions.
But the real, what do I want to say? What you're doing with your Cities of Peace is the illumination.
It's the art of illumination.
The art of illumination. It's using gold leaf, silver leaf too.
We've used over 14 types of gold. I brought some to show you. And I want to say, before I show it to you, that there's a wonderful pun, or there are many meanings to illumination. So not only is it the art form of illuminating with gold, it's actually illuminating the mind. It's actually waking people up so that I don't see you as an enemy. I wake up and I start to know about you as not so very different from me.
As a human.
As a human being.
Flawed.
Flawed and wonderful.
At the same time.
At the same time.
With dichotomies.
With dichotomies.
So that's what it's all about. But you're also, this illumination is an ancient art form that's practically...
Yes, I'm jumping on your words. It's an ancient art form, and let me give you a sample of gold. Let me open it up.
Because this is what I found so incredible about your work when I saw the gold in it. It just blew me away. Can we zoom in on the gold here? And Now, how do you get that on the painting?
It's very tricky.
I know.
So you can't touch gold. If you touch it, this will disintegrate. This is Italian gold. It's a gift from Minetti. So we have international supporters for our work. And this gold is called Florin gold. There's nothing quite like it. So how you get it on is if you're making a bed and you have a sheet which is actually clay, and so clay is most often this color, which is earth. Clay is actually earth from around the world. It comes in black and blue and gray and red. Red is the traditional. So first there's red, and then there's a glue, and the glue can be garlic. It can be fish glue.
Do you use garlic sometimes,
egg white.
really?
We use garlic.
How
Garlic
cool.
is wonderful. It's wonderful. And then the gold, you take it,
So it's not
redo
just
it.
healthy, it's good for the painting too.
Very good for the painting. The painting never gets sick. So then you take the gold, and wherever there's glue, the gold will adhere. And so it's a marriage. It's a marriage between the mortal, the earth to earth, dust to dust, our own frailty, and pure light. Gold, we can call it divinity, you can call it pure light, the highest good. And so what is the marriage? The marriage is the glue. What is glue? Glue is hope, it's intention, it's the human breath, it's wishing and praying, if you wish to call it that, for a greater good
So
in the world.
there's massive amounts of symbolism in your work.
At every moment there's symbolism.
There's so much to cover. You're doing so much because you have an exhibition coming up at the UN. You're leaving for Kosovo on Friday, and I don't know how we're going to get all this in 20 minutes, which we have left, but we're going to do our best.
Okay.
And what I think, let's take a look at the pictures that we have to show, because they actually kind of lead us into other areas to talk about.
Perfect.
So let's do that. This is from your exhibition at Guildhall. And this is an actual...
It's an installation shot, and in the center, so you see the scale. They're about 9 feet
Yeah,
tall
massive.
when they're vertical, and 9 feet when they're horizontal, and as many as 8 to 20 people will work on any one of them at different stages. So it's participatory, it's collaborative.
Oh yeah, let's take the picture down for a second, because I want to talk about that real quickly. Okay. About the studios that you have, the ateliers.
Atelier, yes.
Atelier?
Yeah.
It's French.
It's French.
But you actually train interns. You have how many interns that come to your studio?
Well, it depends. One year there may be 30 or 40. One year there may be 8 or 10. So it changes depending upon the project, the season, where we are. So we were just in Armenia, and they built an atelier just for us. We were guests of the former prime minister, and it's so moving. We were guests on the occasion of the 100th anniversary of the Armenian genocide.
And you created a work of art.
We created a work
How
of
many,
art.
And how many did you have there?
How many did we?
How many students?
Interns? We had about 15 hardcore, and at the end we had 5 with intensity at the very end. But we had at least 30, and then it expands. So they go into the community. Patrick, what's so amazing about that painting, and we can look at it later, is that the city, Yerevan, is built from a stone called tuff, T-U-F-F. We actually took the stone, ground it into pigment, and painted the painting honoring the city with the very stone the city is made of.
Oh, how cool.
Is that cool?
That's really cool. And the other thing that's really interesting about it, now these interns, their names travel with the work, right?
We want everyone's name always to be known.
So they travel with the work. Now let's, because time is short, let's go back to the photos we have. This is more of the exhibition at Guildhall.
So on your right is Hiroshima.
Which is a fabulous piece.
Thank you. And that's all white gold. And on your left is Sarajevo, 1991. 3 targeted missiles destroyed more than 2 million books and 1,500 illuminated manuscripts. It wiped out the entire recorded history of Bosnia-Herzegovina forevermore. So we are doing our best to honor the heritage and the culture of
That's been
Sarajevo
It's
that's been lost.
But you've also created the illuminated manuscripts too.
Yes.
You've taken these 10 paintings that exist now and made illuminated manuscripts that are only 13 by 13. Is that
Absolutely
and
right.
I've seen them. They're really beautiful.
Thank
I
you.
mean, gorgeous.
Thank you.
Gorgeous. And how many of those exist? They're limited, right?
Those are a limited edition. They're 20 and very limited, and we only have 3 left. And then there are individual ones that are also sold to collectors or museums or libraries.
But there's only 3 left.
There are only 3 of the full collection left.
Wow. So, okay.
So here you're looking at Baghdad on the right. And Baghdad used to be called Dar es Salaam, meaning city of peace. How do you like that for a name? And then next to it is Monrovia. The Undersecretary General for Peacekeeping Operations from the United Nations asked us to do Monrovia, the capital of Liberia, and next to that is New York.
Which one is New York? The one on the
The
left?
vertical one on the left,
Uh-huh.
and its title is New York is My City, and it says New York is my city in about 30 languages,
Oh, how cool.
including Braille.
So what else do we have?
I think you have, this is
Oh,
Hiroshima.
that's a close-up of
Close-up
Hiroshima.
of Hiroshima. So Hiroshima was amazing. That's actually a map of Hiroshima right before the United States dropped the bomb. It's an aerial photograph that finally was in public information after being forbidden to be seen. So the white gold is the land, and the pinker moon gold is the waterways. And then cascading across the entire painting is the winter blooming plum rose that symbolizes everlasting life.
There is a lot of symbolism. It's fantastic. Fantastic. Now, what is this?
This
This is
is-
not from Guildhall. This is
Yes, this is a center of Baghdad. This
Oh.
is called
It's a detail, then.
Muqarnas. It's a detail. And this is the inside of an Islamic dome, and it's meant to elevate the viewer to the highest form of thinking. It's actually got hidden in it crimson leaf, really red leaf, the color of our blood. So while we celebrate culture, and our goal is to prevent what we call culturicide, to prevent the destruction of culture, we also always honor the dead with a touch of crimson.
Oh, that's cool. And do you think the paintings actually give off a vibration?
I do.
Because I
People
think so
say
too.
they feel like they're in a temple or a special place of reverie.
You could take that down while we talk, actually. Yeah. So you think the paintings give off vibrations?
They do. I know they do.
And you were saying people.
People feel that they're in a shrine, a temple, a sacred space. There are dancers who've come in and performed in the space with the paintings around them. At Guildhall, they said it was the most revisited exhibition they've ever had, because there's a feeling of sacred space, and instead of feeling hopeless, what can I do about the world? There's a feeling of hope and affirmation. So it's, and you know, Patrick, the most important thing is these paintings are not about me. I don't own them. The nonprofit I founded owns them. I derive no benefit. These paintings are for the people who've made them, and they're peace-building tools in a sense. So the audience gains understanding of a culture they may have thought was an enemy. And suddenly There's no longer this idea of enemy, of bad, good,
It's
right,
only human.
wrong. We're all human.
Mm-hmm. So let's go on. What we had a couple of more paintings there. Nope. This is another detail.
Yes, this is a detail from the Armenian painting called Yerevan, to know wisdom, and this shows the Armenian alphabet.
So this is the painting you did recently that was only unveiled there.
It's only been seen at the National Gallery of Armenia, and June 22nd, it will have its U.S. premiere at Old Lyme, at Lyme Academy of Art, which is part of the University of New Haven.
Mm-hmm.
And following that exhibit, it will go to the United Nations.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Totally cool.
So when is the United Nations exhibition?
October 31st.
And that's just been arranged, right?
That's
You
just been arranged.
You just got the date. And is the whole suite going to be there?
The whole collection will be there.
For how long?
Well, it will be there for the time when the Secretary General will be able to speak about peace and cities. It's opening on UN Cities Day, in which we're honoring
Do you know
the
the date?
UN.
Do you know the
Yeah,
date?
October 31st is the open.
October 31st is the opening of your Cities of Peace at the UN, so you can go see Ellen's
Everybody
pieces
could
all
see it.
together in one.
One space?
Yeah. In one space. It's like they were at Guildhall, except you have the Armenian painting will be
Now
there.
we have the Armenian, so there are 10. I'm leaving Friday for Kosovo, which is so extraordinary. So
And you're gonna
that's
create a
number
painting there too?
11. Yes. So we're the guests of the National Museum of Kosovo, a wonderful NGO called Cultural Heritage Without Borders, like Doctors Without Borders. And we're working with the University of Pristina, the capital. We're working with the Ministry of Culture, the Ministry of Education. And you know what we're doing? We're working with women victims of war crimes. The war was only 20 years ago. They were only independent for 10 years. And we're working with women victims, as I've said, to bring them hope and engage them. So everyone, whether you're a maintenance person, a floor sweeper, a president of the country, a prime minister, you get to put your hand and your breath and your eye on the painting. So we will also have minorities, the Ashkali Egyptian minority and the Roma community. So we work with communities that are marginalized and hope to engage them so that they feel pride and they feel good about
raise
themselves
them
and their
up.
country.
You raise them up is
Yeah.
what you do. For how long will you be there?
2 months, a little over 2 months.
And you'll create a painting in 2 months?
It's actually sounds like a lot of time. It's very little
It sounds like a
time.
lot of, doesn't sound like enough time to me.
So, right, if you add up human hours, each painting takes a year. But when you have more than one person
Right.
and we're all working together, we can do it more quickly.
Do we have more images that we didn't see, or do we see them all?
You have one more, I think, another, yes.
Oh, detail, yes.
And this is a detail, and I love it because those
Let's see it again, bring it back.
those are the capitals of Armenia. So the Armenians have been persecuted forever. It's one of the largest diaspora populations in the world.
It's
And
100 years?
these-
It's 100 years?
100 years since the genocide.
Since the
They've
genocide.
been persecuted. More than 2 million Armenians were murdered. These are
Okay.
all the former capitals. And you see the word insight, to know wisdom and meaning, to appreciate insight. It's the earliest phrase ever written in the Armenian language.
Oh, how cool. So now, when you do a painting like this, you do research,
Ton of research.
tons of research to figure out the symbolism of the stuff that you want to use, right?
And to know what sites, who the greatest writers were, who the greatest scientists were, to know what their traditional arts were, what are their colors, what is their religion, What do they love? What is their music like? So it's all included.
And all of this is in one painting. It's amazing.
All of it's in one painting. And then there's like a key. So it'll say, this is a symbol of this. So you learn. Peace building is about education and learning.
Yeah, of course.
So when you come to see the painting,
And a bit of reconditioning too, right?
it's definitely reconditioning, polishing.
And the symbols help you recondition yourself by seeing things in a visual way, and that becomes then an internal thing. Is that correct?
Absolutely. You're so amazing and so right. Yes, you start to build memory. So you take something you don't know, you start to gain information, and then you have this information from reading or looking, you look back again, and it becomes part of your memory. It becomes part of your own vocabulary of appreciation and participation.
Because there's an accumulation
There's
of
an
information that
accumulation.
goes on, that builds up, and it affects you ultimately.
It does.
Yeah. So you must be really generating a lot of great energy around you now as the accumulation of this process. I mean, how did you get here? I mean, do you know?
I know. I actually know some of it. Some of it is just a moment of grace, of gifts, and some of it is from childhood on. Being persecuted as a child, being a hidden child, and learning very early that feeling of compassion, and learning not
So
to blame.
it's a lot of personal stuff that took you to this place, because I feel everything is process, and everybody's process is different, and when people get things, they get them at different times, not when we want them to get it necessarily, and we have no control over how that happens. So I find it interesting to how you got to.
It was a burst in 2006 with a close associate of the Dalai Lama who suddenly taught me something I didn't know, which is if I think I'm right and the person I think is wrong, if I'm angry at the person I think is wrong, I'm actually no better than the person who is, quote, wrong, because I'm angry also. So the awakening was what's called,
So in the anger, you're not accepting? Is that what's going on?
I'm just the same. It doesn't matter. If I'm in anger, I'm in anger. The object of my anger is irrelevant. So where we really want to go is to what's called non-oppositional thinking. We don't live in a world of opposing forces. We actually get the chance to live in a transformative partnership, collaboration, love with each other. And that was the burst. So there was a moment when Cities of Peace was born.
And it's born out of collaboration.
Born out of collaboration.
It's interesting because that's what happens in the theater, because the theater doesn't happen alone. It happens with all these people coming together and collaborating, and I often feel like theater is a reflection of life, so you kind of make it exactly right.
You make it exactly right. So we can have two women working, they don't know each other. One's from Colombia, one's from Hong Kong, from China initially. One says, what do your parents do? And she says, well, they used to live in China but had to flee with Tiananmen Square. She said, what do your parents do? And the other one says, well, my father was kidnapped and murdered in Colombia. So you have this coming together of real lives while they're both working on Hiroshima.
It's beautiful.
It's amazing. And it's my honor to work with them. They're the teachers. They're the inspiration for this work. The work is theirs.
I think it's a little bit of everybody's.
It's all of ours.
So I don't know, we have a couple of minutes left. Did we hit everything that Joy wanted us to go over?
Joy, did we hit everything? I don't know. I guess let's say a few things about Kosovo because, well, we did say a few things about Kosovo. I would just like to say that one of our hopes is to engage youth who would be seduced into terrorist cells. So this is an extraordinary challenge. And we were invited by a Holocaust survivor to go to Kosovo to see, to have a laboratory, a pilot program, to see how we can include marginalized youth. So this is extraordinary. So I can simply end by saying what an honor it is to talk to you about this and to
Well,
share
it's an honor
this
of mine to share with
dream.
the audience, too.
And to share with everybody, yes. So this work is for you, the audience. This work is pure light, like the gold, and our mortality, and our wish and our intention to bring light where there's darkness.
So the dates of the UN, so people can see the whole body of work together at one time. Again, do you know the dates?
October 31st. First is Lyme Academy, which is
Oh.
June 22nd.
Okay, but is the whole body of work going to be there?
Well, we don't know
We have
yet.
30 seconds.
We don't know, but there'll be probably 7 of them, and the whole body of work will be October 31st at the United Nations.
October 31st through?
We don't know the end date.
Oh, we don't know the end date. Okay, October 31st. You'll have to keep abreast and check in with the UN. And the other date is?
And the world premiere of the painting, Kosovo painting, is Kosovo Peace Day, June 12th, and we're inviting Cities of Peace ambassadors from the public. You're all invited to come to Kosovo
And we're out of time.
and have an experience of Kosovo.